Taurus, hello, hello, my loves. Welcome to Vivid Vibration. My name is Christina. I hope that y'all are doing well. Taurus, y'all got the vow and the desert, the river, the ocean, and the womb. Taurus, well, I just kind of get this feeling of like promising yourself something, but like sometimes we promise ourselves things, right? Because we have like this general like I know that this is what I want, right? And I know that like there are elements that I've already achieved within this idea or this vision or this promise, I mean, it's just like it's a promise, and I feel like it's a promise that feels almost like, well, it's like you can't really promise anything if there's nothing that you're really promising to. You know what I mean? Like, well, I don't know. I mean, I just think of like, well, if you say, well, I'm like, I promise I'll do this thing with you, but then there's no follow. I think of like planning a trip with someone, right? And you're like, okay, we're planning this trip, we're doing these things, but then they never do anything. Like they never contact you, they never, like there's no real discussion, and it almost feels like this idea. I almost feel like somebody is like showing up for something, and there being this idea of like, well, I mean, I know that we had kind of said something about it at one point in time, but like nothing ever really came of it. So I went ahead and like made my own plans and did my own thing. And I'm like, I don't really know what to do with this. Do you know what? Like, that's what this energy feels like, because it does. It feels like making plans to do something and then somebody not really doing anything to like perpetuate these plans. Both of you, maybe, I don't know. You know what I mean? Because it does take two to do anything, but like, maybe you were just kind of like not really, you were like, well, I mean, like if this person shows initiative, if this person, da 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 da. But like if that person doesn't do anything and then they just show up and they're like, oh, well, you said, and you're like, well, yeah, but like since I didn't really hear from you that whole time, I went ahead and decided to do my own thing. Right? Like that makes sense. That's what I feel like. This is like, that's why this promise just seems really obscure to you. However that resonates for you, because I mean, obviously, like that's a very specific example, but I feel like it could somehow resonate with you in other ways. I don't know if it's a relationship and it's like, well, I thought that we were going to do this. And it's like, well, but I never heard from you. Like, you never attempted to, like, really do anything more than just, like, abstractly cling to a promise or an idea. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, because I just think about like if you have a conversation with someone and you're like, okay, well, this, and this, like I need this and I need this. And they're like, oh, yeah, 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 definitely, definitely. And then they go and they do all of these other things. And you're like, well, you never gave me the one thing that I asked for. So I don't know why you think I would be committed to some sort of promise to this. Do you know what I mean? Like if they said, well, we're going to do this trip, and you're like, okay, great, I'm down, like bring the itinerary when it's ready, and they never have the itinerary, and then they just show up ready to go, and you're like, yeah, about that. Again, that is that energy, because there's this sense of urgency that feels like this, like missing out on something. But I don't know which side of the story you're on, because Taurus, I love you. You are my sweet molasses babies, and like you will always have my heart, but you'll are just steady sitting, just steady, sitting with an idea, sitting with an emotion, sitting with stuff. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, so it very easily could be, like my Tauruses who are in this sense of urgency, because I almost just feel like you said you were going to do something and then you sat on it for so long that you like that person went and did whatever they were going to do. And then when you show up to do it and you're like, well, what do you mean you're not ready out? Like we said we were going to do this, and they were, and I just feel like this sense of like, well, dude, like how long ago was that? Like, why is it that like that you thought you could spend all of this time not doing anything and then just expect me to be on board with it? Like in what world? Like I don't know. I don't know, because I feel like a sense of irritation almost. And this sense of, well, and if it's on the other side, because also Tauruses, sweet molasses babies, who I love so very much, y'all are very balanced. Like you are, well, you're not always balanced, but you're very steady. And the thing with fixed signs, like I get it. I'm like 90% fixed. I am just a very like consistent person. You know what I mean? And I feel like somebody's disputing that, and I understand why they would, but and yet, like I could offer a counter argument to that that would demonstrate otherwise. But I feel like there's this sense of like a consistency that you were like engaged in, and again, this could be a good consistency or a bad consistency, because I just kind of feel like there are a lot of versions of this energy, and and it's a general read, right? So please, please, please always practice discernment with tarot, right? When you're tapping into an energy in and of itself is neither positive nor negative, right? It's just an energy. Your experience of that energy depends on how you handle your energy, So if you're very, slow and consistent, and you've been steady, like chipping away at something, and somebody popped in and they were like, hey, if you want to do this, and you were like, okay, yeah, and then you go and you show up to do it, and they were like, well, but I haven't heard from you. Like, I don't, like, what are you, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, or the other way around, again, but however this is, it seems kind of out of the blue, and it feels rushed, but with a mentality that like this isn't rushed at all. But it is, if you're over here building this and working on this, and then somebody wants to show up and throw something else at you, and you're like, well, like maybe like the first time I mentioned that, I would have been like down, but like you took forever. You know what I mean? And I think that in a lot of ways, like maybe there was this sense of security that like this person felt when they were with you, but like if the security comes and goes, then it's not really secure, right? And I just kind of feel like whatever this promise was, it was a promise that was linked to an idea of security and balance. But I feel like in this, the reality of this, I almost feel like this like passing thought. There was no security, there was no tangibility. It was just some idea in the ether. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like if you don't ever do anything to solidify that, then that's what it is an idea in the ether, and nobody's obligated to an idea in the ether. You know what I mean? In fact, those tend to be the things that we steer clear of, because again, it never solidifies. It's ephemeral. It's not tangible. And Taurus, you require tangible. You require consistency. You require a sense of security. Like that's not a negotiable thing. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. I feel like for some of my Tauruses, because you have had the bag of woes in your read now for years, and you're coming out of that. But I almost feel like this idea of like, well, I gave you a bag of woes to chew on for all of that time. And they're almost being this idea of like, yeah, you left me feeling sick to my stomach. You left me feeling uneasy. You left me feeling abandoned, or like attacked, or like all of the emotions that you've been experiencing while you've been consuming this bag of woes over this extended period of time, right? I mean, it's just kind of like, oh my god, I don't know which side of the story you're on, but whichever side of the story the person is on who is feeling this is feeling very, very frustrated. But you have the Seven of Cups, the Five of Pentacles, and the Seven of Swords. And I do kind of feel like, again, there is this sense of like, okay, so I can, I almost feel like this, like, okay, so I see what you're saying. Like, like no action has been taken. Like, at no point in time did anybody actually take this seriously. No one was sitting around biting their nails, hoping that you were going to just magically appear, because obviously you were never going to appear. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not my job to chase somebody down, to beg them to want to appear in my life. It's my job to work on developing myself. It's my job to ensure that I am aligned with spirit. It's my job to make sure that I'm in my power. You know what I mean? And I feel like, Taurus, you are in that energy. What does I think of this song by Queen Herbie? Working out, sleeping in, taking vitamins. Or oh, what is that song? Vitamin D, vitamin bitch, vitamin please. I don't know, but like that's the energy, and I'm pretty sure she's a Taurus. But that's that energy, you know, like while you were doing whatever you were doing, I don't know what, expecting me to like fall all over myself to beg you for your attention and your time while you belittle and berate me, you know, like what is it that I'm supposed to be excited for or promised or like look forward to, or do you know what I mean? Just kind of like any of those things. And if you're realizing that about somebody else, then maybe you're just like, you're ready to like hit the door. You're like, you know what? I tolerated your shit for a really long time because I'm a patient person, you know? And, and I do believe that people need opportunities to grow, but like you are steady on the same fucking shit. And it doesn't seem to matter how many times I say, what I need or what I want. Like, you will never be capable of offering that to me. And thank God that I finally realized it. I'm ready to go. In fact, I'm so ready to go because I don't want to miss out on the opportunities that actually show the fuck up. You know what I mean? That actually provide a sense of security, that actually bring me into balance. Tell them, Taurus. Okay. I love it. I'm here for it, you know, because you like Taurus, to, like an earth energy. Earth energy is so, oh, I love earth energy because you're so, there's just a groundedness to you, you know. And I was talking to one of my, this woman, I love her. I am in love with her, not in like a lesbian way, just like you just meet people and you just fall in love with them because they're so fucking beautiful. This woman is so beautiful. And she told me that she was only going to be coming in like one day a week. And I cried. I'm just like on a ball of emotion lately, y'all. I don't know. I just cry at the drop of a dime. But I was very sad. I was like, but you bring so much joy to my life every day. Like, what do you mean you're not going to be here every day? Like, you know, like, don't say things like that. You know, because she grounds me in a really big way. And I just like, I'm so grateful for her. And I'll still see her all the time and it's fine. And I'm just, you know, a ball of emotion. You know, but she's so grounding. And Taurus is, you are grounding and you do have like there's a sense of being comfortable in your energy. And I can imagine that somebody who thought that they were going to have access to that energy coming to the realization that like you're not just like, I'm not just your charging port that you can like pop in and charge up on and then leave, because then I'm depleted, because then I'm in the position of just constantly being depleted. And, you know, like, I feel like there's this sense of like, I honor myself enough to acknowledge the fact that while I am willing to pour endlessly into the ones that I love, I also have to practice boundaries and only pour into people who are willing, capable, and desirous to reciprocate that energy. Otherwise, you're going to just be exhausted, and you've been exhausted. You've been eating a bag of woes. You've been over it for so long that you pulled away and you focused on your own things and you did what you needed to do to create the healthy version of you that didn't accept such casually cruel energy. Because I just kind of feel like you've dealt with people who've been kind of casually cruel, You know, like, have you ever just been around people and they just feel really comfortable being flippant to you or being dismissive of you, or like you don't really have a right to feel any kind of way? You know what I mean? Like, those people are like fucking vampires. And you've been surrounded by vampires, energy vampires. And so you had to pull away. And you wanted to be involved in community. You wanted to be, like surrounded with people, but you can't do that if you're constantly having to protect yourself. And you did. You made the decision to protect yourself, and you lifted yourself up out of all of it, because what you promised yourself was that you were going to be the safe space. Like, can't none of these motherfuckers be a safe space for me? So I'm just going to go ahead and be that for myself. Right? I'm going to go ahead and ensure that I rise up and that I step into my new beginnings. And even though my new beginnings may seem small, I am grateful for them. I just feel like this. If people have been, well, I don't know. And I think, like, I am starting from scratch and have been without my own home and my own furniture and my own anything, my own any of it. I've just been existing in the world of others, and like living in my car, or in the basement of a beloved angel in my life's home. You know what I mean? Just like I've constantly been provided for, and I have been taken care of. And so, like, now I'm like okay, I'm gonna get all, like, I gotta do this myself now. Like, it's time to, like, stand on my own 2 feet again. And that's a journey, right? And it's that, like, that grounding. And I feel like sometimes I feel really overwhelmed, and sometimes I feel embarrassed, and sometimes I just want to cry, because it's like, God, how am I just like, all of the emotions that we feel when we start over from anything. But I feel almost so repulsed by energies that leave you feeling unsafe, that leave you feeling unseen, that leave you feeling like, don't even ask. Because if you ask for it, you will get the opposite of what you seek. And so you ask yourself, so you seek within yourself, so you create that balance, you create that safe space, and you walk away from people, places, situations, circumstances that leave you feeling like you would consistently be giving far more than you would be receiving, you know? And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is. If it's a friendship, if it's a like a work relationship, if it's a love relationship, if at any point in time in any area of your life you are pouring out more than you are receiving in return, then you are in an imbalanced relationship, and you should no longer be in it. Right? It sounds harsh, but it's true. Because what those relationships result in is depletion of your energy. And then when your energy is depleted, you are not able to show up for yourself. When you're not able to show up for yourself, you find that you experience blockages in your, seeking out of abundance, whether it's emotional abundance, spiritual abundance, financial abundance. You've been blocked. And I feel like a lot of that blockage has been because you relied on people who just, like, you shouldn't have been relying on those people, and maybe you didn't have a choice. And maybe you were caught in the chaos, but you saw your way out, and you're stepping into your own abundance because you're stepping into your own balance. And I don't know who this person is that's like wanting to roll up with some out of nowhere shit. But I kind of get the feeling the mask. Well, I mean, the mask is the idea of an identity that you can't take on and off. But that is an identity. I feel like for some of you're like, absence is an identity. And I feel like this person's trying to show up as a present person, like breaking away the mask of the identity of absence, because that's not who you are. That's not who that person is, right? And I just kind of feel like this this well, I don't know, because it does, it feels a little bit like a confession, but almost this, like this desire to, honor your experience, acknowledge the lack, you know, recognize the need to show up differently. And I don't know, whether or not you choose to move forward with this person in any way, shape, or form. I think it'll depend on my Tauruses. I think it'll depend on how deep you are and what it is that you are already doing. And I think it will depend on just, I don't know, because I feel like who is this person to you in your life? Like, is it somebody who you have, like a sincere relationship with? Is it somebody who is just like some rando on the internet? You know what I mean? Like what is it? Like, how does this person have rando? And then Roger, I don't mean that towards you. I love you so much, and I'm so grateful for you. you know, you are an exception to the rule of many people who have crossed my path. Um, I love you for, you know, being concerned. Yeah, and no, I'm not speaking to you in terms of that, but these are general reads, and I think that we all have so many encounters, right? Whether it's through work, whether it's through just like outside activities, just like social interactions, or what, you go to church and you meet people that way, or just like whatever, I don't know, but like however it is, I feel like there's somebody who is in your life who is like a popping up out of the blue. And I think that they're wanting to break away a mask, but I think that you kind of feel a type of way about it, and you're making a decision on what you want to do with that. And so that's where we're at with the energy. It was a very interesting read. I hope that it does resonate with you. It definitely came through pretty strong. So if it does resonate with you, please do give me a like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for spending some time with me and sharing your energy with me. And I will see y'all again soon. Bye.